Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of the SuperFood Show. We're so glad you could make it to our premiere episode. I'm actually not going to wear the Infinity Gauntlet the whole time. I will put that away. Alright guys, I am Kale. I'll be your host for the SuperFood Show. Just wanted to talk a little bit about why we're doing this. I really think that there's a need for things like this now. We're in an uncertain time, and people need uplifting stories. We need humor, fun, things to take our mind off of what's going on around the world. But also, just like you, I have absolutely nothing to do. So even if nobody watches, this is going to help fill my time. And on top of all that, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's space in the late night game all of a sudden. You don't have to be a guy whose name starts with J, right? All the way back to Johnny Carson, Johnny, Jay Leno, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, James Corden. It just seems like everybody's name starts with J. Maybe that's why Conan got pushed off to CBS, right? Just kidding, Conan. I love your show. Maybe that's why Craig Ferguson didn't make it, because their names didn't start with Joe. Now, hey, I know what you're saying. What about Stephen Colbert, right? Well, did you guys know that Stephen's first name is James? That's a whole nother Jimmy, in the late night game. Okay, but in all seriousness, it's even weirder than that. Stephen Colbert, his middle name is actually Tyrone. Look it up. I'm dead serious, not even kidding. Tyrone. Stephen Tyrone Colbert. Alright, well those guys are doing an admirable job at home. They've shifted their shows. They have cute little drawings for their intros that their kids drew. Jimmy Fallon's wife is shooting the show behind the scenes. They're doing a great job. So I thought I'd toss my hat in the ring. I've even got my own awesome crew helping me out. Let's take a look at them. Aren't those guys super cute? So when they're getting into all this, doing it from home, there are technological challenges. They've been making all kinds of jokes about figuring those things out, and they've even been just doing home projects on their show. Stephen Colbert changed a bike inner tube on his show the other day. So they've changed. The late night landscape is wide open. So here I am joining the fray. I'm even thinking about next week changing my first name to Jimmy. So this could be the SuperFood Show hosted by Jimmy. Just kidding. I'll keep the Kale. That's why it's the SuperFood Show. Alright guys, on a serious note, the coronavirus pandemic is everywhere, right? It's the reason that I've decided to launch my YouTube channel with this show. It's created a lot of time for all of us to be at home. And it's very interesting living in this uncertain time. One thing that I find that's different is the news cycle. The news cycle was already 24/7. You could get news any time of the day, whether it was cable news or your local news station or anywhere on the internet. You could find news 24/7, which for you math nerds out there, that's all the time. But now it seems like that's even ramped up. We didn't have any more space to go, but the news cycle has ramped up even more. We have press conferences every day from our local state governors. We have a press conference every day from the White House. And then all these talk shows that are following up on that information and talking about it. And then news articles explaining to the general public what new executive orders are being passed on a daily basis. It's insane. It's hard to keep up with. We're not making an effort to be a news program on the SuperFood Show, but we will bring you some little tidbits here and there that we find interesting. One of those pieces of information as it pertains to the coronavirus, COVID-19, I've been hearing reports that one of the first symptoms now is losing the sense of smell, and taste. Have you guys heard that? It's really interesting because as they're examining patients and talking to people that have recovered, they're finding that most of them have lost their sense of smell or sense of taste at some point early on in the process, even before they developed other symptoms. I think it's kind of dangerous right now to be dealing with people losing their sense of smell. If it's day 6 of you not showering during quarantine, that's a little sketchy, right? You might be pulling up your laptop, going to your morning meeting, and do a sniff test. Oh, hey, smells fine. Well, if you lost your sense of smell because of the virus, you'd have no idea. So be careful and don't just think that if you're on day 6 without a shower that you smell fresh and clean, okay? That could just be the virus kicking in. But in all seriousness, if you guys have a high fever, if you are developing symptoms, take the necessary precautions, quarantine yourself for at least 2 weeks, and seek a health professional if your condition worsens. We're also hearing about the stimulus from Congress. It hasn't yet passed at this point. They're working on it. I'm not going to pick sides in all of this, but the reality is this just needs to happen. Americans need this money to get through these periods with no jobs. Maybe you're like me. I got temporarily laid off without pay. So it's a difficult time. It's really uncertain. And the stimulus package is going to help everybody. So hopefully they can work out a deal and both sides can come to an agreement and get this passed quickly to get that money into the hands of Americans and small businesses. Just like a lot of you out there, I'm now going to be on lockdown. Our state announced today that starting Friday, we'll be on basically complete lockdown, what they're calling a shelter in place. You're just supposed to go out, get groceries, get gas, just the essentials, nothing beyond that. We were already pretty much practicing that here, but it's just a step further of caution to get us what they're calling flattening the curve. So if you guys are in a shelter in place, I feel you on that. It's not going to be easy, but it's what needs to be done. And if you're not in that place yet, take the necessary precautions, distance yourself so that you don't have to get to that point, hopefully. All right, guys. In other news, we're seeing that movies and things like that are being pushed back. As you can see, I'm a huge fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Black Widow movie got pushed back. Other movies are being pushed back or delayed indefinitely. The bright spot, on the flip side of that, is that some companies are releasing movies to streaming services early. We saw Frozen 2 get an early release on Disney+. I'm sure all the stay-at-home parents are really excited about Frozen 2 on repeat. And we're hearing that Onward, that was just in theaters, is going to get an early release to Disney Plus at the beginning of April. So that's some good news for people who are stuck at home. We're even hearing NBC Universal has announced they're releasing one of their movies direct to a home streaming service instead of going to the theater right now at all. Maybe we'll see those types of things down the road if this continues. A company like Disney might release Black Widow straight to Disney Plus. It just depends on how long this goes and what they think the financial ramifications of that are. But, for us stuck at home, it's nice to see those new movies and things that we were anticipating a little earlier than normal. So, that's a positive in all of this. All right, guys, transitioning to sports news. Basically, there is none, right? I mean, it's been killer. We should be right in the midst of March Madness right now. Tournament time. We should be looking forward to the Final Four, checking our brackets for picks, and there's nothing. It's so weird. March 26th was supposed to be the start of baseball season. It's been delayed indefinitely. They're even talking about delaying the start of the NFL season. And as we all know, it was really the NBA that kicked all of this off when we found out that Rudy Gobert came down with the virus. It's been interesting ever since then to see the dominoes fall. And now, I don't know if you've heard this, but even the Olympics are going to be postponed until 2021. I think most of that is due to training issues, where if these athletes are ordered in their states to shelter in place, and other countries' athletes are ordered and their countries are shut down, then they can't train. They can't do the things that they need to prepare. And so it's going to be difficult to hold those Olympics. So it's been announced that they've been delayed, postponed, whatever you want to call it, until 2021. So no Olympics even this year. Some bright spots in the world of sports. NASCAR is one of them. They've turned a corner and transitioned and are doing some pretty cool stuff. But you might consider it even more boring, because now it's just fake cars on a digital track still just turning left. Okay? I mean, I don't know if you could really make it worse. Just kidding though, because I'm going to take some heat for that one from my family. I have a big racing family and they're all into it. I'm actually even named after a NASCAR driver from the 80s, Cale Yarborough. So in all honesty, I think what they're doing is great. They've paired competitive people from the esports with actual NASCAR drivers, and they're pitting them head to head on Sundays in this digital environment. They're doing it live. They have color commentators doing the broadcasts, so it actually makes it entertaining and engaging for the fans, and it's cool to see these NASCAR guys try to find their way around these big rigs that they're driving in and trying to figure out how to drive in a video game, which for them isn't as easy as driving a real car. It's pretty interesting. You should check it out, and I think NASCAR has made a really cool pivot to keep their fans engaged, so way to go. Marble racing, another bright spot. If you guys haven't heard about marble racing on the internet, then you need to check it out, okay? We'll link a video in the description box below, but you need to look up Gels Marble Runs. JELLE''S Marble Runs. They are hysterical, and you're just watching marbles run down a track or run down a course in the sand, but it keeps you riveted, and there's color commentary to go along with it. They've done a really good job, and I hope they only continue to develop more videos. So check out Gels Marble Runs. Also, if Tony Romo needs to put to his $30 million contract to use, then maybe he can commentate the marble runs, because he's not sitting around doing anything right now. If you've seen the NFL memes on Facebook, it's a Facebook page called NFL Memes. They've put out some great memes about being with no sports, so maybe you've seen them. I'll just read a couple of for you that I thought were pretty funny. Day 3 without sports. I let my kids have energy drinks for breakfast, just so I'd have something to yell at. I thought that was a good one. Day 3 without sports. Found a lady sitting on my couch yesterday. Apparently she's my wife. She seems nice. And a more recent one, day 11 without sports. I worked an hour later than I had to, just so I could feel what overtime was like again. But maybe I'll get my drum snare in there on that one. All right, and in real NFL news, of course, Tom Brady has gone to Tampa. I wasn't really surprised that Brady left the Patriots and left New England, but at the same time, I was surprised that he went to a market the size of Tampa Bay. It is a smaller market. I really could see him in LA, so that was a little surprising that he ended up going to Tampa Bay. I think he's going to have good weapons with the current receiver core there. He's going to have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans to throw to, and they're excellent receivers, so we'll see what that pairing does for Brady. They're also, I think, going to continue with some interesting offseason signings. There's word already that Ndamukong Suh is going to come back for a 1-year deal. So we'll see if that happens. Maybe Brady is enough of a draw to make it happen, and I think the offseason signings will only continue from there. So that's some interesting NFL news. Now, guys, I want to give you some tips on things that you can do at home. The first tip is a recommended watch on Netflix. I know there's a lot of people that have seen this already, and maybe you've seen some of the memes on Facebook, But if you are not watching Tiger King on Netflix, then you are missing out. It's a documentary series about a guy from Wynnewood, Oklahoma, who has the largest big cat, maybe you could call it a rescue, in the United States, and it just gets crazy from there. It's already a little bit weird that somebody owns this many big cats and they operate the park and the zoo independently, but there's so much conflict with other big cat rescue owners. It's really a wild story, and it ends up with people in jail and all this conflict. I mean, it is an unbelievable story. It's like watching a train wreck. So highly recommend watching Tiger King on Netflix if you guys haven't caught it already. Now, for some fun stuff just to do if you're stuck at home with kids, this is a shout out. We actually made this this week. We'll zoom in here a little bit on the Lego creation. So check that out. We made our little hiking display here with a waterfall. We've got a picnic table and a bench, a rock formation and some trees. Just some really cool stuff there that we made. And this was actually for a competition. So some friends of ours from my son's school, they actually developed a Facebook group so that we could do competitions like Lego Masters. There's a description of a challenge, and then we make something according to that challenge, and then we submit videos to then win a prize. We actually won for most detail, so big shout out to my wife and my son who helped with this Lego creation. But that's a super fun idea that you guys could replicate. Whether it's making a Facebook group or just texting some friends, you could have a little competition like this amongst yourselves. So a great, great idea. And I'll throw one last idea out to you. This is something that we've really liked to do, and we just did these this week as well. Tie-dye. So my son made these awesome tie-dye socks. They look super great, turned out awesome, great colors. And I made my tie-dye t-shirt. So the story behind this is that my son started tie-dye Tuesdays in his kindergarten class. He wears tie-dye t-shirts and got his friends to wear tie-dye t-shirts every Tuesday. So we're starting this trend while we're stuck at home as well. And we want you guys to take it up. So let's start the hashtag tie-dye Tuesday. Wear your tie-dye, take pictures, use the hashtag, put them on Instagram, put them on Facebook, wherever you want to put them. But use the description or the hashtag tie-dye Tuesday, and let's get it trending all over the place, okay? I know that my son would be really pumped about it, but it would be a great use of social media to come together during this time if we're all banding together, even in our homes, and wearing tie-dye. Alright guys, well that's the video for you today. I'm so glad that you guys had an opportunity to tune in. And like I said, we'll be doing 3 episodes a week of the Superfood Show. So make sure you like this video, hit the subscribe button to get notified of new videos, and if you would, share it on social media. Let people know that we've got an awesome new show going on here. So we thank you for coming, and have an awesome day.